Good evening, I'm Taylor Thomas with the CTV News Update. Gas prices continue to soar. The national average for a gallon of regular gas is now at $4.43. That's up 11 cents since Monday, according to AAA, and area residents are feeling the pinch.
I think it's ridiculous that they're going up like they are. At the same token, smaller car now, it actually is more beneficial because as you see, like that's 25 right there. That's only gonna give me like a half a tank, but I'm gonna ride for a couple days.
What you gonna do? We got to put gas in them, The oil companies probably see down the road where sooner or later they're going to be using electric cars and they're not going to need them anymore. So it's easier to come up with electricity than it is with gasoline. So therefore, they're trying to get where they can get while they can.
Officials say the unrest in Ukraine and the continued COVID lockdown measures in China are partly to blame. Experts expect prices to increase even more as we approach the big Memorial Day travel weekend. As we reported yesterday, county health officials are asking residents to mask up again. They're asking residents 2 and up to voluntarily wear a mask in public indoor spaces. Here in Prince George's, the COVID-19 cases have been steadily going up. Dr. Ernest Carter says the subvariant of the Omicron variant is highly contagious, so masking indoors, he says, is a way to keep yourself safe from the virus.
Right now, for instance, our average number of cases we're getting per week per 100,000 is about 117. Now that's still low, and if you go over 200 cases per 100,000, that's when they say you're in the medium range. We're trying to avoid getting up there. So we're about 117. That's up significantly from where we were.
County health leaders continue to urge residents to get vaccinated and boosted. Fear and terror as dozens of gunshots are fired near a school. It was a frightening scene for children and parents alike in the Silver Hill area yesterday. Prince George's County Police responded to multiple gunshots fired in the 200 block of Brooks Drive. It happened around 2 p.m. There were no reports of injuries. Police are still looking into the incident. This incident is near a daycare center that recently announced that it was closing their District Heights location because of the spike in crime in that area. State health officials today reported 2,467 new COVID cases. The state's positivity rate now stands at 6.2%. One person has died of COVID over the last 24 hours, and 336 people remain hospitalized. Thousands gather tonight to pay tribute to fallen officers. Now, this video right here is from last year's candlelight vigil. Each year, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund holds this special event to remember the men and women who died in the line of duty. Their names have been inscribed on the memorial wall. Each of the fallen officers' names will be read out loud. Organizers say between 30 and 40,000 people are expected to attend tonight's candlelight vigil at 8 p.m. on the National Mall between 4th and 7th Streets and Madison and Jefferson Drive.
From the state of Connecticut, Stephen A. Ketchum, Matthew Bradley Manieri.
You're watching CTV News. I'm Taylor Thomas. Back in a moment.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. Well, 2 local rappers released a new song to encourage a peaceful and crime-free summer in the Washington metropolitan region. Anthony Dew and Anthony Morell have put out their new song called "We at War, DMV, Stop the Violence." The hip-hop tune encourages the region's youth and adults to avoid criminal activity. The duo says music can be a catalyst for change and hopes that their message will inspire others to choose a different path.
You know, during the summertime, it's a time that a lot of crime go up. A lot of people have unaccounted time. So we said, let's use the skills that we have to do something positive. How can we impact this culture, specifically in the DMV?
Your parents came up on music. Music is generational. And if you know how to reach one generation, then you can kind of bring the baby boomers, the X, the millennials, and the Z together. And that's how you change the culture, which is what our music is going to do. It's going to help people change the culture.
You can catch the pair performing at Bowie Fest on June 4th. Maryland's governor signs a number of critical bills into law. 105 bipartisan bills were signed into the state's books yesterday. Governor Larry Hogan was joined by Senate President Bill Ferguson and House Speaker Adrian Jones for the signing. Hogan said, in keeping with his promise, the measure addressed key issues like opioid prevention and transportation funding.
$660 million to advance the transportation projects all across the state. We are enacting our statewide Targeted Overdose Prevention, or STOP Act, to save lives by dramatically increasing the tools that are available to help us in our fight against the opioid epidemic.
We're strengthening our cybersecurity to better protect Marylanders' private information, providing hundreds of millions of dollars in additional transportation funding to our counties and municipalities, expanding health care to provide dental coverage to Marylanders who need it most, and solidifying our solidarity with Ukraine.
One of the new laws added provides dental coverage for Maryland adults who are at or below the federal poverty level. A coalition of animal rights activists calls on a Rockville-based company to release dogs in its Indiana facility. Now, we must warn you that this next story contains graphic video that may be difficult to watch. The Humane Society says an undercover investigation found hundreds of animals enduring the effects of toxicology tests. In a matter of days, the first wave of tested dogs is expected to be euthanized. The organization is asking Innovative to release 82 beagles so they can be adopted into homes.
What that investigator found was frankly shocking. Animals that were not getting proper medical attention, that were having euthanasia drugs injected directly into their hearts, which is against animal welfare standards, just a host of oversights and potential violations of the Animal Welfare Act. We also found 80 dogs that were young, resilient, and currently being tested on, who have the opportunity to go into loving homes when these tests are over. But right now, Innovative is planning on euthanizing these dogs just to get tissue samples to continue the testing that they're doing.
The facility in Rockville is Innovative's East Base headquarters. Maryland and Montgomery County have pledged hundreds of thousands of dollars towards the company in economic development funds. Under Maryland law, animals must be made available for adoption at the conclusion of testing. One teen is hurt and another is in custody after a stabbing near Gaithersburg High School. Montgomery County and Gaithersburg police arrived on South Frederick Avenue and Education Boulevard Thursday just before 3 p.m. They found 2 high school students near a public bus stop off school grounds. One of them had cuts to their extremities and one was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The other teenager is in custody. Police found a cutting instrument nearby. The incident happened after school hours, so there was no lockdown. And still to come ahead on CTV News tonight, a local pastor turned author tells his story. Details up next.
Here are your AARP top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. First, form a caregiving team. Create a list of people in your family and friend network who can help with caregiving tasks. Take an inventory of supplies in your loved one's home. Try to have a 2-week supply of essential items. Make a list of the care recipient's medications and medical contacts. Be sure to have prescriptions on hand and ask the pharmacist for an extra 30-day supply. Make a plan to stay connected. To prevent social isolation, set up available technology to help loved ones stay connected and schedule regular chats. Finally, maintain your own self-care. Follow the Centers for Disease Control's guidelines for coronavirus safety. And have a backup plan for care in case you become ill. For more caregiving tips during the coronavirus pandemic, go to aarp.org/caregiving.
Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. So you can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us when my brothers and sisters and mom and dad and grandpa and grandma need them.
Thank you, first responders.
We look out for the helpers because they look out for us.
At the end of the day, this is what I signed up for as a first responder, and this is what I love to do. And I'm going to continue going to work day in and day out and providing help to those that need it.
Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Love you. Mwah.
Be safe, look after yourself, and look after one another. Thanks.
Welcome back. A Landover pastor's exploration of bold prayers in the Bible has led him to write a book about how bold prayers can be answered by God. Pastor Albert Alpaya is the author of Audacious Prayers, Making Bold Requests, Expecting Answers. The new book, which was released this February, was a labor of love for Alpaya and was written during the pandemic. He says prayers is simply communicating with God through conversation. Alpaya wants people to know that we shouldn't be scared to talk to God any day or any time.
If we just start talking to God, just start speaking with God about our situations, about our needs, the fact that we love Him, the fact that we want Him to take care of us and we want to serve Him, that would be a starting point, to develop our prayer life. And of course, as we read through the Bible, in fact, I tell a lot of stories personally and then through the Bible also. As we do the biblical readings, it will give us a very good idea of what to pray and how to pray.
Alpaya is the pastor of Renewal Christian Center in Landover. CTV News will have more from him and his new book next week. This Sunday, be sure to look up to the skies. A total lunar eclipse will be visible across North and South America the evening of May 15th. For 84 minutes, the moon will cross through Earth's shadow, making the full moon appear a coppery red.
Total lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and moon align, and the earth blocks the sun's light and casts a shadow on the surface of the moon. And the period of time in which the moon is in the darkest part of Earth's shadow is called totality. And during totality, the moon's actually going to glow a coppery red color. And totality is going to last for just shy of 90 minutes for this particular eclipse.
And why is it turning red?
As the Earth blocks the sun's light is still passing through the Earth's atmosphere. And the bluer wavelengths of light get scattered by Earth's atmosphere, but the red wavelengths of light pass through and bend around the Earth and then reflect off the surface of the moon, giving it that coppery red color. We call this a blood moon.
The total lunar eclipse may not be visible if this weekend's expected inclement weather creates cloud cover. If that's the case, you can watch the event live on NASA TV starting at 11 p.m. Sunday at nasa.gov. Let's turn to our weather forecast tonight. A chance of thunderstorms with lows around 64 degrees. Saturday, rain likely, highs in the 70s. Sunday, partly cloudy with a chance of showers, highs around 83. Monday, more rain likely with highs in the 80s. And that's your CTV News update. I'm Taylor Thomas. Good night.